I wanted to join the recession. That's what led me from Gloucester Council back to Lieutenant Council status, which we didn't like the police. It's, the longer you're in an environment, the more you become an environment, and that was just how it was back then. So I was from a council estate south, so that helped me when I joined the police because I could relate to people more, because I've been from that sort of.
Have you jumped all the door stories?
Yeah.
No, so so there was. I'm gonna have to disclose it. I'm not a thug, by the way, but
Go wild.
for 5 years, and I did wonder what would happen if I posed someone in those 90s. But I didn't go out to do that. I still on the pole watch, and I could get reported. Would be the police now or back then. So it's a bit queue. Don't forget, I've been working all day. Before we get home, be lucky to have maybe an hour's sleep, something to eat, back straight out the door. And I don't normally lose it. I was quite easy going back then. Very much so. It took a lot to roll me up, push my buttons. And this guy, he come up to the door, and the best thing to do, we've done lots of scenarios with each other. Like, for example, like John Warner would do scenarios before we'd work. Probably like martial arts, you train. And he'd been a senior doorman for 20 years. He'd been stabbed and all sorts. So he'd seen some action. And so it's I'm going to do a scenario because I'm still new. I still didn't really know much about it. I was just doing it because it was big, But anyway, so he says, right, door on the door, I'm going to come in. I'm going to tell you all that. Okay. So John Warner come up to me. He says, what? He went, what? He said, I've just bitten your ear off. He said, the only people that come in your zone are your close family, and that's it. And this, when the doorman do this, they've got their hands in front of them, it's not posing. That's if someone's going to, if someone's going to stab you, what are you protecting? Your vital organs. Stab me in the leg, fine. Stab me in the arm, fine. But I don't want you stabbed in the liver, the heart. Well, that's the reason. And if your hands are there, it's going to take time for you to go there to the front. If they're already at the front, you're already there. It saves that time, and those vital seconds, which will come out in a minute, and they're precious. So I'm on the door, this guy turns up, and the best thing to do if they're in drink or drunk is not let him in, because it's easier then. Once they're in, it's like bumping into people, he spills a pint on you, he spills a pint on his missus, pint kicks off, got six kicking off, and that's the last thing we wanted, because the next week that pub goes quiet. Publican don't want it, we don't want it, and it might go quiet for weeks, no business. Or we get paid a wage through the commerce of his money or their money. So, you don't want that happening. So he comes to the door, he's a bit tired, and he says, I'm coming in. A big queue, so they're all getting a bit, come on, hurry up, I want to get in, I want a pint. They'll be working all week, I want to get out there on the Britney Spears. And so, no, you're not coming in. Why? You're injured. But I said, you're not barred or anything. I said, you come up next week or tomorrow, I'll let you in, no problem, no issues. So I asked why I let you in, but I'm not letting you in. Why is that? You're gone. And it said in the broken record scenario, you're not coming in. Why? Because John. Why aren't I coming in? Because he's way too much to drink. And this is going on for about 10 minutes. Okay? I'm starting to get rolled now. I'm saying, just go away. And it continued, and I just lost it. I lost it, and I whacked. And you were just saying about your earlier story. He flew out in the middle of the road. He's like out for starfish in the middle of the road. Now, this is a Friday night. This is a busy road. I wasn't doing the Green Cross code, so he's gone flying out on the road. He's knocked out his Sparko. And I'm thinking, oh my God, why was in a car? I didn't look. There could have been a car going 30 miles an hour. He wouldn't have had time to stop. And you can imagine manslaughter, death, And that really made me think. But it was just the one occasion that and I'm not going to lie, 5 years on the door, I think, well, that's probably good going in. But anyway, he eventually got up. Hey, come on. At least he changed his story. He's coming in there.
Complete!
And he said, I know the Shirley Warren boys. He said, I'm going to bring them down and sort you out, mate. I was on a head call, and I was like, oh my God, this is it now. I best get my passport and leave the country. And so I just bluffed it. I was just playing it cool, but inside, swan, you know, the feet are going like that, but the swan's going gracefully across the river. I said, oh, that's fine. I'm playing it cool. So that's fine. I said, I'm here till 2 in the morning. So I started at 9. I said, I'm here Saturday if your boys and crew can't make it. So they can come tomorrow as well. And if they can't make it for any reason, I'll be here next week. And off he went. Thank God he did. He's obviously bluffing me and I was bluffing him, but that could have turned quite nasty. But and the other one, which is the big one, I just applied to Hampshire Police, and I was on the final process of getting in. And Terry, Irish pub. We had a lot of students go in. They were good as lot of students. They're the best people to have in a pub. They get silly. You don't get any violence. You don't get any problems with them. They're the best ever. It's just easy street when it's full of students. And Terry, who was the publican, Terry and Greta Lennon, that was his surname. He was a good businessman, and when I say that, he bought the Dorchester Arms that was running it. Then he bought the which used to be a blues pub in Beavis Valley. Bought that, turned it into a nightclub called Lennon's, his surname. He was just like a monopoly board. He was like taking over, like, you know, I'll be exaggerating saying taking over Southampton, but he was taking over the whole road. There was a house, I've got one there, like Monopoly. And I thought, yeah, good businessman. And anyway, in the off license, he had 2 daughters. Dawn, I forget the other one's name, but what used to happen, they used to run the working off license mainly, sometimes in the bar at Dorchester Arms. And what Terry had done was put a silent alarm in there in case anyone went in there and tried to do shoplifting or whatever. So you couldn't hear it in a shop. There's a silent one under the desk, but you could in Dorchester Arms, and they're almost literally next to each other. Well, what we used to have a bit of a prior scenario. So instead of coming out, locking the shop, then getting out, coming to the pub, changing their tenner for donations, change, then we go back. Well, they didn't do that. They started pressing the bell, right? So every time it went off, oh, here we go. He wants some change again. So I'll go, what do you want? Here's 20 quid. Can you give me 2 fivers, 50p's and whatever? And that happened about a good several times. And he just got used to it. There was never any issues at the time at that on flight license. Anyway, his daughter was working there. And it was a Friday night, and I'll never forget it. Just about to join the police. I was going for the interview. And I can't remember what it was. Me, Phil Jacobs, who's head doorman, me, and it was Dave Harris, who was the bodybuilder, another bodybuilder. But that's what we call runners. If it cuts off, it's never to be seen. Funny that. And that's the last thing you want if it's kicking off, because you're down for 2 at that point. It was always, I was in the toilet, I missed that. And because as a doorman, what you're doing is watching each other all the time. So if someone disappears, I'm straight in there because I think, oh, it's kicking off, I've got to go. Because loud music, you're not going to hear it. It's just a lot of sign language. So this is, I'm going to the toilet, watch me, I'm going in. Because you couldn't shout, it's too loud, no one's going to hear you. So he used to always disappear. It's just, we should have approached him, and then eventually we weeded him out. We can't, it's unfair on us. But I remember going in, there's Phil Jacobs, we'd have the t-shirt, Dorchester Arms written on there, door staff. And I've never had this feeling ever in my whole life. And I'm now, 24, 25, just about to join police, join the 23rd, 97, actually police. And I've never had this feeling before, and I thought something really, really bad is going to happen. Really bad. It's my instincts, but there was no rationality about it. There was no Cat A football games. We got Millwall or Pompey, 657 come down and fight Southampton. It was at the Dow, obviously now St Mary's. But it was a sinking feeling, something bad's going to happen tonight. But logically, I'm thinking, well, no, I've been working on the door for like 4 hours. Anyway, down the hole, silent doorbell goes. Here we go, change. Went next door, there was like a house and then there was a little place, so it was almost have done loads of scenarios. Those scenarios with John Mulder, that one where I said, you got my personal space and I would just bit your ear off. You know, he had obviously, but it was just like, you know, teach me. And as I went in there, there's a guy doing the counter with his hands in the till. I've come in, so he's trying to rip money out of the till.
We're all right with the mic.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So he's got his hands in the till. So I grabbed him around the waist. Now, I pulled him back, and she screamed, Dawn says, he's got a knife, he's got a knife. So automatically, because his face was I grabbed his wrist. I thought he's got a knife, at least got hold of his wrist. Now, this guy was only 11 stone, he was really skinny, but the strength was phenomenal. And I was at my peak, I was benching 40 kilograms, so I was, you know, at my best form in bodybuilding. And as I put away, he had this superhuman strength. Now, he must have been on something, I don't know what, but it was strength I've never encountered ever. And I pulled him away, and as I pulled him away, I couldn't see a knife. So, and I should say, I'm not condoning violence, but I just thought, if you've got a knife, you better use it, mate, because I'm not messing about. So I punched him, he went to the floor, and I said, where's the effing knife? Where's the effing? I'll give him a couple more punches, because I just wanted to get the knife. And it was just quick thinking. And he says, in my pocket, it's in my pocket. He had one of his button-down shirts that sort of come down to above his knees. And I went in his pockets, there was no knife. Now I'm panicking, where's this knife? Because I want to know where it is, because I don't want to get stabbed. I don't want her to get stabbed. He says, anyway, I pulled this button-down shirt up, and he had this handle. It was tucked in like that into his jeans. And I pulled it out. No, I'm not exaggerating. The blade was like that. It was a kitchen, proper cutting kitchen knife, not like a... That gives me thinking, so if he does get away, because he was strong enough to get away, if I was doing an armed robbery with a knife, so it goes, and then Terry must have thought, where's the change? So he's
Chapter complete.
Republican. And she's freaking, obviously. You could have stabbed me, you could have stabbed me. And Terry stuck her where's every knife like that. And so he's all kicking off. And anyway, lo and behold, police turned up. And even then, even though he joined the police, I didn't trust him. So I got him going to say, oh yeah, I'll give him a few punches. So I detained him, restrained him. And they even laughed when they turned up. So I wish you'd just gone around the block for another 5 minutes. Obviously knew a man handled it. And then Terry disappears. Anyway, she was a lovely woman, never forget her name. Her name was Susan Tate. She was a WPC now, I'll say PC now, but back then. We were police constable, and anyway, she's done a statement with me. And I mentioned the fact, oh, by the way, after you've done the statement, I'm joining the House Police Force, and, you know, I've gone through the application, I'm almost there. He said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll put a good word in for you. I said, that was brilliant, thank you, I appreciate it. You don't have to. He said, if you want, come out in civvies and have a night out of us, because that'll help in the interview, you know, what steps have you taken to join Hampshire Police Force. That helps to say, because you've gone out your way in your own time, you've really got to really want the job. And like what I did later on. And anyway, the guy got 7 years for armed robbery on that one. But anyway, she put a good word in for me. And that process still happened. I was still, done about 3 weeks before, and then I thought to myself, it was worth getting stabbed. And obviously my application to the police as well had all that to consider. So that was it. That was the sort of dormant days gone. But I met some good friends, and weirdly, I've got to say this bit. When I was working on the door, didn't really get approached by females at that time initially, and I didn't think too much about it or got weird about it. And then as soon as I got married, I was still working on the door. We got me and Susan Hetworth, back then Hendy. I wore my wedding ring. As soon as I had that wedding ring on, I was just like inundated. They were just coming up to me all the time, and I'm saying to my friend, I don't get this logic. Well, the best time to get me is when I'm single, not when I'm married. They said maybe see it as a challenge, but yeah, I just thought, I should just wear a wedding ring when I was single. I'd just be inundated with offers. But yeah, that one sticks in my mind. But yeah, it was. I enjoyed working on the door. You know, most of the time, 95% of the time, it was good times. You need to have fun with punters, and so we still have like 8 million working. So, and obviously with the money side of it, so the money that I'd earn from that, I'd put towards a deposit. So we always wanted more, we still wanted to start renting and so. And then joined Hampshire Police. So just quickly on that, it was a 3-day assessment. You stay overnight. You had like a bar, so electric bar. I thought I'd have a drink. Got to be human. But I think it's a bit weird. Everyone's just stood there drinking cokes and lemonades all night. Be yourself basically. And so we had 3-day assessment, and then we had an interview of panel 3. One high ranking. I didn't know the rank structure back then. I would imagine Chief Inspector Superintendent, maybe someone from recruiting, PC from recruiting, and another person in the police. So I got a bit of a grilling. And I was obviously the door side of it, so, I used to do everything else that went in my favour as well. And also went in my favour because I had no previous at all. So, obviously realised, what was working and so on and so forth. So it's quite an intensive interview, but I got past that, and then he didn't say anything. He didn't say you're in or you're not in. So I could just go in the canteen and get yourself a coffee. And this is a guesstimate, and I'd found, or didn't get in for 2 times. And the third time, we all went and gathered in the canteen area. Of course, we're all like, oh, what's going to go on? What's happening? But we knew we're getting to that point of, you've got in, we haven't. And it's quite stressful those 3 days because you are under the magnifying glass, so they're watching you all the time, and sussing you out. And I had one come up to me. We knew he was a trainer, and she's going, "Oh, right, mate," sort of trying to rile me, see if I was the aggressive type. And I didn't obviously buy it. I don't know me anyway, to be fair. Probably I could trade that all up. But so right, everyone in the lecture theatre. And there was about 100 of us going into the lecture theatre, and thought, right, it's coming now. Are we going to get in? Are we going to get in? And we're all sat there. I'd say 100 fair guesstimate. They called out about 83 names. Really. Call your name. You've got to do that. Call your name. So, and then there's about 17 of us left. Sat. My thought process was, I haven't got in. There's just too many. There's too many being called out. Chance of us getting in. That's what I was thinking. Guy come back in and said, congratulations, those ones that sat there, you're now police officers. And my jaw dropped. I thought, oh my God, this is it, I'm in the police, career, profession for the rest of my life, from literally daily qualifications from council estate. It's the proudest moment of my life, and I won't lie, because, for me, massive achievement. And a lot of people are going, degrees or in the high jobs, and I thought, yeah, for me, personally, it was probably the best move I could have ever made in that situation.
And how long did that experience last?
Yeah, to the cynical side. So I'd say the first 2 years definitely, because if he's new,
What about the training? What was that like?
That's a good question, Sean. So our training was at Ashford in Kent. Now it was a national training centre, so we'd have everyone from all forces. So we'd have BTP, British Transport Police. They made me laugh because they had the batons, like TJ Hooker. Those are, of my age or generation will remember that. We had the ASPs where you had to rack it up. So it's basically that long, and then you racked it up, and then they had a steel bar probably about that long, and then obviously the handle. So their training with that was a bit different. We were warned that the Kent police, where the training centre was, would know their definition of law. They'd have 4 weeks of pure classroom law input all the time. Ours was 2 weeks and then 2 weeks attachments. I love the attachments, so we had a choice of 10. So I picked one to week. The other one was boxing on the plane. Went on marine unit. One was bit for the community, so went to a centre in Netley, which is where my story came in with the Freemasons stuff before I joined the police. divers and things like that. Everything, you name it, you know, as you can imagine. And they'd have, so they let me look at
Chapter complete.
first, from something that happened. But yeah, it was an eye opener because I'd never seen it. Obviously, never seen a dead body before during the police.
So what was the first autopsy like?
It was weird. Yeah, bit sort of. I'm not cringy with blood, but people get cut up and things like that.
Just describe
So
going
you had
in.
to watch the entire autopsy.
Yeah, it's the smell that got me. You know,
What, you just walk in and there's just a body laid out? Is that how
yeah,
how it
naked.
works?
You've got a draining plug at the end, so they've got to drain the blood and cut the skull. And
Remember if it was a man or a woman, that first one?
it was a man. It is. I suppose you have to go through it in a way, but it's just weird. It's not cringy, but it's just weird. It just doesn't look real.
Did they tell you why he was there?
This
Or
was,
what
I
caused
think
his
this was a diver. They were trying to, it was out in the Solent, some divers had gone missing and they got washed ashore. And I think they were trying to establish, because yeah, you could say, yeah, that's probably a drowning or his offshore. Well, it could be a heart attack. You might just have a heart attack underwater. Like we had it with our RTIs, fatals. Oh, they crashed the go-to bus. Well, no, you might have been having a stroke. Epileptic fit. Might be in drink, might be in drugs, might be both. You know, there could be so many. And for it to go through an autopsy, it's because they don't know the cause of death, and they've got to establish that. So it's not always a murder or a crime scene.
So they
as
have to
such.
open the entire body up to do that?
Depending on what the information is. So the divers was basically they established they got the bends, which is basically you've got to decompress when you go underwater.
So is that an examination of the brain?
Yeah, and bubbles, air bubbles.
Did they have to saw it
blood.
open?
I didn't watch all of it in the end. They're cutting up, and because you're not supposed to stay there. I thought, you know what, I don't really want to see it. I've seen enough. You know,
We've had some ex-police say they hated the autopsy and it gave them nightmares. And we had others who said, yeah, I did 20, 30, didn't bother me
Yeah.
at all.
I think what I found with the dead bodies is certain things affect certain people. So the one that really affected me, it wasn't a gruesome one. It was my first one. That's what sticks in my head. And with the probationer, what will happen is you've got what I call PDRs. So you've got tick boxes. One of them is a sudden death. Another one might be your first arrest, the first caution. So you've got to tick all these boxes. So if a sudden death comes in, they'll nominate you if you're with a tutor. So we'll go down to the control room. Can you stand that unit down? We'll go to that. And this one sticks in my head. It wasn't necessarily gruesome, but it was the circumstances behind it. So we turned up. Obviously, we don't know what they come across. Keep an open mind. The officer had already been there and broke down. He was in his 50s. Basically, he'd suffered a marriage. And the reason why we were called is the wife had come home from work, started boiling up potatoes, and then come across him. But what was sad is I had to take a statement. So his death there was obvious, so that wouldn't have gone to a post-mortem because it was, you know, unless it was suspicious, obviously, or unknown cause. But so it was the circumstances leading up to it. Now this guy had no previous with the police, so he was good standing. Was suffering from depression. Was off work because of it, and he come across this. It was minor, really minor. It was the probation officer called it a road rage, right? But when I spoke to the wife, she basically said, no, basically what happened, we've all done it, haven't we? You know, he was going to cut you up and you have a bit of a verbal. I don't think he even swore, you know, it was that low, it wasn't even an offence, okay, but the police were called and initially was arrested, but the bottom line is it wouldn't have really gone very far. But his probation officer going, oh, well, they look dimly on road rage and this, and I'm not saying it is the cause of what drove him to do it, but with that going on and depression, it's just, that's
bad mix.
yeah, absolutely 100%. And I just thought, if that probation officer or whatever hadn't said that, if you had previous, then maybe you might look at it in that way. And back then you could disclose that, and then you couldn't, and now it's come back in that you can. I just thought it was just sad, really, and seeing her in her state, you know, she was in shock. And you were saying about earlier, there's a good thing you're saying there. I get different reactions with Sudden Deaths, even if it's just a message. I may not even come across the actual body, whether it be a road accident or whatever. But the different reactions you'll get when you give that message, and it's the worst part of the job, you know, like the firemen, they're heroes and they're there to save your life. Whereas when we look at it, it's always bad news.
Kids is the worst, isn't it?
Yeah, luckily I didn't come across that, but I could you know, you can imagine, you know, what that, you know, car deaths or whatever, you know, horrendous. But
traffic accidents, we've had a few of them.
yeah, again, you know, it's but. So my reaction really wasn't necessarily the gore side of it, it was the emotion. You know, actually seeing it for real, like her and my first dead body. I'd never seen a dead body before then, so. But on the sort of cynical, funny side, I remember we didn't get a lot of them in Bitten. It was mainly some PVHs, GBHs, you know, you name it, it was happening. But the good thing about Bitten was it was sort of first posting. It was mainly case and stuff. But you're always applying the law, and it can be quite complex and it can be diverse. But you're always applying it. You got to think quick and fast. So Bitten and Bases, they've got two busiest police stations in Hampshire, and it was full on. The radio never stopped. It stopped for 5 years. I was there. Before the battery ran out, the radio was broken. It was only like 30 seconds or a minute. But that's so wrong. The radio, it's not, because it's just non-stop. But a good place to learn. So they used to say you survive Bitten and Bases, you survive anywhere, because anywhere after that is. But bizarre experiences at Bitten. Oh my God, where do I start with it? I mean, I thought I'd seen life sort of as a doorman and you know, doing my bodybuilding and things like that. But this, I think with the police, it brings out the best of people, the worst of people. I'll walk up some funny stories. So there was a guy called Mike Sizer. He was ex-RAF, really nice guy, good temperament, polite, proactive. But and it was all exciting. You know, let's get our first arrest, or let's get this, let's do a house search. And again, one of the ones that I had to complete was a house search to tick the box on my PDR. So he said, "What was yours?" He said, "Just need someone with a bit of as in that block of stuff with this, rock and black blow, you know, that you burn it and crumble it and put it in a joint." And so it was all resin. You didn't have to do herbal or anything like that, grinders. Soap bar. So he's only got a bit of personal. I think it was the 16th year. Anyways, Mike's in the car bringing it back. He's giving it Mr. Billy Big Biscuits. Like he's part of the cartel with those people. So if he had said that, we would have done his house search. We would have done it. So a bit personal. Give his first offence. He's adamant that he's the kingpin, the main man. So I said, fantastic. So it's me, Mike Sizer, and Paul Garside. Anyway, we get the keys from custody. He's going down to custody. And so we go to this, it was a bed sit, most bizarre place I've ever seen. And we get in there, and he's got this lizard in a tank. And my mind's doing overtime, thinking, maybe he's got the stash in there somewhere, you know. Put my hand in there, chasing the lizard around. And then he had this cockatiel flying around. And I thought, where's the cage? There was no cage in his bed sit. So he goes to the bedroom, and he's got this wooden wardrobe, and there's like chew marks inside. So I think he must have put the he must have, because all his clothes are on the floor, and there's all these bite marks all in the wardrobe. It was the most bizarre place. Anyways, Mike goes in the under the bed. Anyway, he pulled out this magazine, adult magazine, and so we're reading through it. I thought, this is great, getting paid to read this magazine, have a good old laugh. Sort of bit laddie, you know, sort of messing about. And Mike goes in further, being tenacious, doing a thorough search. He goes right in the back of the bed, and you know, two of the Coke plastic bottles. Well, I've done it myself, but I normally chop it halfway through if I'm doing paint and decorating, put the paintbrushes in white spirit. Well, he only had probably about that much on top of the 2 litre bottle of Coke, and it was filled up with 200 manipulation paste, right? No word of a lie. So Mike pulls that out because I was waiting for the tissue or something, and he says, "Oh, what's this?" Like all innocent, and I twig. It's all congealing, all different colours, all weird. And he's running around the bedroom. Going, ooh, ooh. I said, "It's hardly Hannah hair shampoo, is it?" And he twigged what it was. And he's running around.
Population paste. That's God.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Baby gravy. That, yeah. I was trying to be polite with
that's clever.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I thought it'd be sort of
Oh
downtoning.
my God, that's grim.
There must be a year's work in there, honestly. So he's running around with it, and looking back at now, all he seized it and produced it as an exhibit on the interview because it would just been just for the funny factor. But I'm like, what's going on? It was definitely, it was filled up.
With all of his swimmers.
Yeah. Oh, I know, why? Exactly that. Why?
Oh, it's only
Yeah, you can't donate it. Obviously, it's gone out of expiry. It's in a fridge. You can't go down to the back. I don't know what it is. I just.
Did he ever volunteer why he'd done that? Smeller?
Oh, we had a good old laugh about that. I was like, oh my god. But and then this gets even more weirder.
Good.
So I back then used to take on the tea fund for the ship, and I was a green ship. Yeah, bits. I was on the first 12 months on foot, drive test, doing they got just there. And so I used to do foot patrols all the time with my big hat on. And so on a Friday night, I was doing a tea fund, and then the shift would say, "Oh, we're going to get a takeaway." I was on late shift, so I told you it'd be 1400 till midnight. If you're lucky to get off, you probably never did because there was always a bit and twist. There was never a straightforward job, and we're going to do that. So, for example, you'd get a shoplifter, and then you'd search them, just see if you've got weapons on them, and then they have a stolen car. So you've got deception. Then you search their house, and you've got satisfactory. And it just went on and on. It was just like, I never worked anywhere after that. It was like a bit and twist. There was never a straightforward, like an easy next option, and that'd be it. Oh, so attacked me last night. It just it was non-stop for them. But anyway, I used to we were lucky in the Bitten precinct. It was right next to the police station on White's Road in Bitten. Right smack bang. Didn't take place for the ship. So lucky we had a KFC. The ship was back to I like kebabs. Whatever. So I trot on down with the money and get whatever more on the list and put it back and eat on the hoof predominantly because I'm sure there's eggs are eggs to do quarter of the clock. So we still if we could. And that's that. And then I remember I started getting CID because it'd been so we had a CID department with us. We had obviously uniform area car driver. We didn't have traffic there, so they worked at other stations. And CID were quite occasionally quite rightly because they're doing like undercover stuff and stings and operations and everything else. And so I remember getting there, and if you said CID, oh, what you up to, or what's going on, they wouldn't really necessarily say this. But as a gauge of trust, I used to go for a pint after work with them, and so I was getting on quite well, and sort of gaining your trust a little bit more. And anyway, this guy come out of custody, the DC, Keith Bailey, big smirk on his face. I said, well, what's that? What are you laughing at? You know, sort of chatting. He said, you never guess what? So, what? He said, I've got one in custody. There was a dog walker, 5 o'clock in the morning. This is at Western Shore and Western, another council estate with tower blocks, 7 tower blocks, 16, 17 floors. And he said, basically, there's a guy basically in a horse and doing something. I said, you're joking. Naked, right? I'm like, you're joking. Anyway, I said, just out of curiosity, I said, what's his defence? He's having a brief, he's having a solicitor. He said, no. He said, you're not having a solicitor. I said, well, that's maybe you're welcome. So his excuse was, when he interviewed, he was walking down the road and someone robbed his clothes. So in order to keep warm, he was doing that, right? And I'm like, that's just mad. I said, that's just so disgusting. And anyway, I said, well, maybe, because we had someone going around slashing horses with a razor blade. I don't know why. I said, maybe he's involved in that as well. I said, might be worth speaking to him about that. Anyway, I said, well, he's in there. Trying to get some intel on him. So if I see him around, I'll keep an eye on him, because we did have horses in the area. And And he says, oh, he said, so. I said, oh, where does he work? What car's he got? He said, oh, he works at the kebab shop at Bitten Precinct. I went, that was the last time I went to the kebab shop after that. I thought, no way.
Oh, grim.
But yeah, it
What
was.
was he charged with?
Bestiality.
Yeah, bestiality, yeah.
Was
yeah,
he?
yeah. So, yeah. We had some weird ones, yeah.
Grim.
Yeah, I mean, you got outrage and puppies and all sorts, but yeah, bestiality, yes.
But obviously, someone stole his clothes.
That was definitely, yeah. But that was the funny side of it, because it was just such a lame excuse. Who's going to steal your clothes at 5 o'clock in the morning? You know, but yeah. But it was good ground. Met some good colleagues, and this is happening to when I met my colleague about Freemasonry. So, very only disposal of knowledge I had was when I was 13 and I was my stepdad. Back then. There was a guy called, he won't mind me saying this, Rick Gillen. Rick and Joy Gillen. Now they lived in a terraced house. We lived in New Road in Netley Abbey, nice little village. He worked full time. She was about her mum, you know, and basically his company, the company he worked for, went bust, went under. So I won't say they were struggling, but you know, things were tough, you know. But anyway, that was that. And then next thing you knew, Mum was very Joy, also you, Rick, Joy Gillen. Things started happening for Rick. Now he'd gone from a terraced house, and I won't say overnight, but it was almost like that. He then moved to this big house. Back then the cars were the XR4, but he had the XR4, Ford Sierra. He had a Merc convertible. So he's gone from struggling to not a very good car to all these things happening. And I was always positive. I like the underdogs, especially the underdogs that come from nothing, work hard, and you know, do well for themselves. Very successful, rags to riches. Anyway, we used to go. We were really close, pally with them, and we used to get there quite often. We used to play with Simon and Arne, their sons, 2 sons. It was just good, you know. Go there weekends and you know do this, look after us. And yeah, some good memories. It was a lovely night. Funny enough, we had the police which was further up. And we did say it was 13. It's the first exposure of Freemasonry, and interesting life, very interesting, but he wasn't what I call expand on the truth sort of person, but you know. Harry said, I joined Freemasonry. We go into later in the evening and disclose my stepdad had become enjoyed his street twice. And he's a good the police society. He stopped. He said, I want to be 6 years. Police officers I'm in the lodge. Or they already knew it. Harry got tube and flew over. Should have got arrested. He's being practiced because that was 13. And, you know, it didn't really affect me. I didn't really anything of it. It was just obviously my first exposure of what he had said. And obviously I think the story behind that was basically he probably used his house as a collateral. Probably used that as a collateral, took a gamble, and turned it around. That was obviously being in the Freemasons at that time. Things like that. He said he took the banker out for a meal. When he done his application to obviously buy the company, that was the only thing. Again, nothing. I'm not saying there's anything dodgy or corrupt with that. So I didn't really know much about it, and then I was working for about 16, and then we got invited to a Riverboat Shuffle by Rick, because it's going to be Joy's 50th birthday. He didn't want it to be a surprise, and obviously he's trying to get in contact with all her friends, including my mum and obviously me, but obviously being her son, I was invited. And we're on this, it was a lovely day, nice sunny day on a Sunday, and we were going on this river cruise, and Joy was like, oh, yeah, it's a big surprise for us. She was all excited, and I was there with Simon and I chatting away. And anyway, a guy was out there swimming from the, was on the riverboat shuffle, just going all around Hamble and that. Anyway, I helped him out. This guy was swimming in the water because it was quite hard to get back on the boat. And anyway, he said, oh, I really like that. But, really taught out to him up, the kindness about that. He said, I went to the bar and he said, would you consider being a Freemason? I said, I don't really know anything about it, but yeah, I'll consider it. He said, good. He said, I'll get Simon. He self-nominated him. That's quite common, the dad nominating the son in Freemasonry. I'll get Simon to introduce you into it. So I went to Simon. I said, oh, yeah, about Freemasonry. And he said, here's my number. He said, and contact me. And I've done some notes because it's quite in depth. So I went to the library. So I get this right. It was because there's no internet or anything like that back then. So I didn't really know anyone that was in it.
What year was this, did you say?
This would have been, I was 16, 17. So what would that have been? I was born 71. Probably about early 80s.
Early 80s.
So yeah, so I went to the book, and it was library, and there was very little there. There was, I just want to know a bit more about Bulgarian. And Simon, he really came to that. He's an old secretary. It was all a bit sort of cold rather than he wasn't approachable too much about it. So that book was by Jim Shaw. I think it was a Deadly. Oh, there you go. Sorry. So the only book up in the library was Jim Shaw, The Deadly Deception. Now I read that book, and he basically went from first degree right up to 33 degree, and he to sum up just very quickly, was saying it was, yeah, it was evil. For his 33, he said you can't, when you go up through the oaths, the degrees in Freemasonry, that you can't go, you can work your way up from first degree to 32. When you reach 32, you can't then go to 33 like you could through all the other oaths and degrees. And I'll quickly put an précis on that, just to give people up to speed.
What's the standard practice of going from each degree?
Yeah, good question. So basically what you've got is, the structure is, you've got anyone joining Freemasonry has to be nominated by someone that's in the Freemasons, and then they'll ask you a question if you want to join. And the question is, which I learned through Nick Murphy when I was in the police, was they'll ask you, who do you believe in? Best to answer it, a supreme being. Some people might say God, some people might say I don't believe in God, I don't believe in anything. But he said that's probably the best answer. But so you've got the first degree, which is and there's an initiation of that first degree. So you have a quick interview. If they accept you, probably they will. I don't know. All this, you get blackballed.
What goes on at the interview?
It's just a very brief one. It's just they want to know your supreme, your deity or your system.
And that's it.
Yeah, I don't think even now, I don't think there would even be an answer that would maybe throw him off it, to be honest. But Nick just said that when I was in the police, he was given a higher being, supreme being. So you've got the 18th apprentice. Now, what will happen then? You'll go to the Sonic Hall. You'll then part of your first initiation is you're in the room, and they basically roll your left leg halfway up below your knee, and they'll expose your right breast with their fingers. And they've got say a noose, but it's a cable tie, and that words will come very apparent shortly. And they lead you into the some say they put like a knife, but it's not in that sense, but some people said they put sort of a knife there. They don't stab or anything like that. It's more ceremonial. And then you get led into the hall. You spun around 3 times, and then that's when they take the blindfold off because you're blindfolded before you enter that hall. So it's not a noose as such as a hanging, but it's what they call a cable tie, which
It's like
will.
a dog breed.
Well, yeah, it'll come up with the first time. And he led in the hall. People you may know, bankers, lawyers, people in the police, so that's your first initiation. And then you've got
Are they all stood in a circle wearing hoods?
no,
No.
Not yet.
no, not yet. Maybe later. So first exposure was Rick, son of Extreme Driver. Second exposure was before joining the police was Riverboat Shuffle, which I joined the library, got the book. It's not for me. Didn't bother on that matter for that reason. It just the book was basically sex evil. It's horrible. Partly the 33 degrees. You can't go for 30 to 30. They've got to want you to go into that part. That's when they start being thorough. All through, as long as you get your oaths right, and you want to progress through the Scotch Rite or York Rite, which go into in a minute, that they will. The 32's the right. We're going to seriously look into this. Do we want him as a 33-degree Freemason? And they'll all have titles. So your first title, first degree, Entered Apprentice. The second degree will be Fellow Apprentice. The third degree will be Master Mason. But you're only third degree. You're another 30 to go. And when you get to the third degree Freemasonry, you can go the York Rite or the Scottish Rite. The Scottish Rite is basically a slower, you've got to go through each degree. They try and put more religion into it, although Freemasonry isn't a religion. And you've got the York Rite, which is more fast. You can get to 33 quicker by doing the York Rite, but that's a fork in the road after you become third degree Master Mason. So, as an apprentice, and this is then my third disclosure of Freemason. I was in the police. Nick Murphy said, I'm in the Freemason, would you like to join? I said, well, police call us, and I'm not doing it because of police that I liked, police that I didn't. Well, there's loads of police I don't really like, get on with. I don't want to be in the lodge with them, But if it's someone I might like, it might be alright, So, he wouldn't say, it was all cagey planned up. So I said, well, I need to know more about it, Nick. You don't have to tell me everything, but, what's it about? What you do? He said, well, basically, you have a meeting once a month. A lot of work goes to charity. And he said, if you think about interest, I'll nominate you. They'll ask the question, what's your deity? What's your belief? I being supreme being. And that's it. And I'll nominate you. So I'll tell you what, I'll go back, speak to my wife. I will seriously think about it. And I was seriously thinking about it, thinking of joining. Went to my wife, said, what do you know about Freemasonry? She said, yeah, I know, my uncle was in it, and when he died, they turned up to his funeral. And she said they looked after the widow and financially, because she struggled for money, which is a commendable thing, obviously. And that's all my wife knew. And obviously the library book. There was no internet. It was just library, and there was only one book, and that was it. No other way of getting other books. No other information. So Nick said, if you're thinking about it, he said, come round to my house. I was living in Romsey at the time with Jan, who was there. She got pensioned out because she was badly battered with harassment. I'm sure the rest of the year, she was lucky to be alive. So we went round to his house. Jan was speaking highly of Freemasons, do like for charity. And he showed me the book. Now, it was very wordy, which I've had to write this down because I had to research it. But when I looked at this first oath, it is the first oath I read. So, although I've got a good memory, I haven't got a photographic memory. So this is the first oath. Now, later disclosure will come in a minute, and it'll start. Hopefully, I'm joining the dots here for people. By heart, so you can't read it. To then progress to the second degree fellow Mason. So So here's the first oath, and then I'll be interested to listen what you may have to say about this first oath. First oath, Ensign Apprentice. Binding myself under no lesser penalty than that of having my throat cut across my tongue, torn out by its roots, and buried in the rough sands of the sea at low water mark, where the tide ebbs and flows twice in 24 hours. Should I ever violate this oath and obligation as an Ensign Apprentice, so help me God. Hopefully stand performance. And the thing is, as you go on, they go on to say things like, never conceal nor reveal your brotherhood's crimes. In other words, brethren, Freemason. And the oaths, as you go through it, I'm going to tell you some of my problems. It's more threatening than Now, when I joined the police, I swore to agree with attestation to what I can't certain masters. And when I was speaking to people, I said, I won't join it out. And there's a guy that I really found really was on the street. I trusted him because Gail was going to his house. I got on really well. We were just really. And I said to him, it's really what's your spin? He hated him. I said, why? He said, just the things that were going on that he'd seen. Didn't go into too much detail. And he said, why? I said, well, been nominated. I was thinking about joining. He said, put it this way, Aubrey. And he knew I picked up on subtlety as well. He didn't have to spell it out like I'm not that thick skinned. He said, put it this way, Aubrey. He said, the Chief Constable, John Hoddinott, was our Chief Constable back then of Hampshire Police. He said, I was up at Winchester Quarters, and he said he was being chauffeured. We call bag man chauffeured. So obviously lower status than Chief Constable, obviously. Don't mean that in a class system way. And he said, as they both got out of the car, he said the Chief Constable had to put the blazer onto the chauffeur's shoulders. Now, Kev knew it wasn't stupid, it was quite astute, and sort of said to me in a way that somehow high up beyond the police, and that's how I got Freemasonry. Now, that to me is showing some serious discretion issues. But as we went further with Nick, further things started coming out. So there was a global email that went out. It was on our police system when I was at Bitton, and it said anyone in Freemasonry must disclose it. Anyway, first thing I wanted to do, because obviously Nick was going to nominate me. I said, Nick, you're going to dob yourself in and all this. And he said, no one's going to disclose that. I said, well, why not? I said, it's a police system. They're asking any police officers to disclose for how they're in it. We're going back quite a few years now. And he just laughed and giggled and, found it all funny. And Nick was arrogant. I loved him because it was good for you taking, we had some good times, but he was arrogant as well. I think that was part of that if they're in the lodge, they think they know, not all, but some like that. And then there's some other disclosures along the way. Sometimes we used to mention about it. And I remember a Crown Court case where a drink driver went to, I think it was dangerous driving involved as well, because drink driving probably be magistrates, to be fair. And he said the Freemason pulled a distress signal, which is what you'll learn when you're a third-degree Freemason, to the judge. Now, that distress signal was that to the judge. Now, you can sort of make out that, I'm a bit tired or, yeah. Luckily, and this doesn't happen often, but luckily with the judge, he showed his integrity and said, I can't hear this case any further, and got another judge to hear that hearing. Now, anyone in that dock, are they really going to pick up on, he's definitely a Freemason, he's just done a distress signal.
Do they still use this distress signal, are you aware?
Did he? Oh,
Do
Nick.
they? No, do they still to this day use that distress signal? Because every time I'm that
Yeah,
much involved-
I don't know. I only know about it from what Nick said. It wasn't his case, by the way, that happened. But
Yeah.
But you imagine that if the judge hadn't have done that, and all of a sudden I was found not guilty. You know, that's put. So really, when I swore to the Queen last station, I can't serve two masters. There must have been so many dilemmas. Well, I've got to stop a solicitor drink driving. He's in my lodge. But I've just now taken that first oath, or even the second or third, which is even more sinister and more threatening. Could call it veiled threats. I can't serve two masters. I'm already in dilemmas. What do you do? What are you going to do? Are you going to go against the lodge now and you know and see what happens with that, or you suddenly say okay, off you go, or leave your keys, I'll get a taxi, I didn't see you. I think as a police officer or constable, you shouldn't allow or put yourself in that situation. Outside, fine, you know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, but the police, that's why I disagree with it. And like I've just said about distress signal. Now, to Joe Public and the Don, they wouldn't know what that meant. And all of a sudden he gets found not guilty. You know, if he's got a higher profile case like Pickett or, you know, murder, it goes on and on. On and on. And there's judges and lodges. Of course there's doctors, lawyers, solicitors, barristers, police officers. And my friend, who went to the Sports Hospital, we went to the hospital, there's a reference for it, two direct and he said, he's very promotion oriented, nice guy, and they said that basically to get to inspector or above, you've got to join the lodge in the Met Police. So at that point, I tended to trust the females at inspector level above more than I did the males for that very reason. The chance of the female being in the lodge are very slim.
They have got a female version of the Freemasons,
Yes,
haven't
they have,
So,
yes.
the Butterfly of the Night Star or something like that.
There is a female, but no, I don't know anything about it. There's one in America as well that their symbol's a pentagon. There was something I researched on that.
Yeah, not too long. Channel.
Yeah,
Something
it's
star,
this.
Like
it was.
Star Night Sky.
Yeah, the American one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. So yeah, that was with Nick Murphy. I don't think there was any other disclosures he made about it. Like I say, he was very cagey, very secretive about it. We did have. Now, when I first started Bitten, we had a lot of police officers getting arrested. A lot.
Super Meat Boy!
Excuse me, I was on green shift.